Welcome to Sports Megaprojects. Today we're heading to Barcelona, where the most famous club ground in football has spent the last 3 years dismantling and rebuilding itself, in full view of its own fans, while the team it houses was forced to go play somewhere else. This is the story of how Camp Nou became Spotify Camp Nou, and why getting it finished has turned into one of the most expensive headaches in world football. Let's get started! Camp Nou opened on the 24th of September 1957 as a stadium built explicitly to outgrow its predecessor. FC Barcelona had simply become too big for its old ground, Les Corts, and the new stadium was constructed to seat over 106,000 fans, instantly making it the largest stadium in Europe. It stayed that way, with brief exceptions, for almost its entire history, expanded further to over 121,000 for the 1982 World Cup, before later being reduced for modern seating standards. For nearly 7 decades, the stadium needed no rebranding and no real reinvention. It was simply Camp Nou, new ground in Catalan, one of the most visited non-religious sites in the country and the symbolic home of everything the club represented. But by the 2020s, the building was aging in ways that mattered. The roof, in particular, had become a long-running joke and a genuine operational problem, blocking enough sunlight that the grass beneath it had to be manually replaced on a rolling basis for years. The club, deep into the financial chaos of the Bartomeu era and the fallout from the pandemic and the Neymar transfer saga, needed a renovation that could do double duty, modernize the building physically, and generate the kind of revenue that could help stabilize a club carrying some of the largest debts in world football. The answer was Espai Barça, an umbrella project covering not just the stadium but a new arena, the Palau Blaugrana, and the surrounding sporting complex. The renovation began in June 2023, with the last match at the old configuration played against Real Mallorca on May 28 of that year. Barcelona spent the next 2+ seasons in exile, playing primarily at the 55,926-seat Estadi Olympic Lluís Companys on Montjuïc, a stadium with roughly 40,000 fewer seats than their actual home, and, at points, even using the 6,000-capacity Johan Cruyff Stadium when Camp Nou permits weren't ready in time. For a club of Barcelona's size, playing 2 full seasons in a half-empty borrowed venue meant a direct and painful hit to matchday revenue, precisely the kind of cost the project was supposed to eventually offset. The design, by the Japanese architecture firm Nikken Sekkei, winners of an international competition for the commission, calls for a completely rebuilt stadium, seating more than 105,000 fans once finished, making it Europe's largest stadium once again. The plan includes a full 360-degree roof fitted with photovoltaic solar panels, an entirely reconceived museum and fan experience, and more than 9,000 VIP and premium seats, a category the club is counting on heavily for new revenue. In July 2022, ahead of construction, Barcelona signed a naming rights deal with the streaming company Spotify, reportedly worth around €280 million over 4 years, officially renaming the building Spotify Camp Nou. The project's finances were never simple. The renovation was financed through a roughly €1.45 billion loan package arranged by a group of international investors, led by Goldman Sachs, on top of broader project costs that have been cited at up to €1.5 billion across the entire Espai Barça development. The stadium component alone was originally budgeted at around €900 to €960 million. That budget, however, has not held. By early 2026, spending had already surpassed €1 billion with major phases, including the third tier of seating, the VIP ring, and the roof itself, still ahead of the club. Internal forecasts pointed to a further €200 to €300 million in overruns, forcing Barcelona to dip further into the Goldman Sachs facility and a contingency reserve, and to begin preparing a request to club members for an expanded credit line just to finish the job. Money has not been the only obstacle. Deadlines have proven just as unreliable as the budget. Barcelona's own projections for reopening were missed repeatedly across 2024 and 2025, each delay pushing the club's homecoming further back and prolonging the financial strain of playing in a half-capacity borrowed stadium. city council inspections, safety certifications from the independent firm DECRA, and a steady stream of administrative back and forth between the club and Barcelona's municipal authorities have shaped the pace of the project almost as much as the construction itself, with each new seating tier requiring its own separate approval before fans could be let back in. The return itself was repeatedly delayed. Barcelona had hoped to be back by October 2025, but the first occupancy license, Phase 1A, capped capacity at under 26,000 fans, a number the club judged financially unworkable. They waited for Phase 1B approval instead, which raised the limit to just over 45,000, and made their official return on the 22nd of November 2025 against Athletic Bilbao, more than 900 days after leaving. An open training session 2 weeks earlier had already sold out in days, a preview of how much demand had built up during the exile. Even after returning, Barcelona spent months playing in front of a stadium less than half its eventual size, while inspections continued on the next stage, the Goal Nord stand, finally approved in March 2026 and pushing capacity to roughly 62,650. Full completion, with the third tier, the complete roof, and the stadium's final 105,000-plus capacity is now projected for 2027, 4 years after construction began. The stakes for hitting that timeline are sharper than they might first appear. Barcelona's contract with Spotify includes a clause requiring a full return to the stadium by the 1st of July 2026, or the club's sponsorship revenue from the deal drops sharply, from €20 million a year down to just €5 million. Consultants have estimated that once fully operational, the Finnish stadium could generate over €340 million annually for the club, with President Joan Laporta putting the figure even higher, built substantially around VIP seating and the new museum experience. And that's the complete story of FC Barcelona's Spotify Camp Nou expansion, a roughly €1.45 billion financing package, construction that began in June 2023, a partial return in November 2025 after 2.5 years away, and a full 105,000-seat completion still targeted for 2027. One of the most ambitious and most expensive stadium renovations in the history of football. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching. See you next week.